up and sit down. Shut up and sit.
And I'm Jake. Really? Is it not working? Can you hear me now? Okay. Are you doing my audio through Discord or something? What's up, Scott? Hey, Chris. Do I sound better now? Does it sound more normal?
It does sound more normal. A little bit more
Outstanding.
normal. Yeah.
Outstanding.
Hey, Scott. Hey, Chris. Good to see you guys. But yes, hooray! We're here for another episode.
We did it.
We did it. We did it all by ourselves. We made it. It was good. Good chat last week with Hank. Good to be able to show off a whole bunch of cool stuff that we've been doing for Adepticon, and get excited about the show. Hopefully we'll get some reports this evening from Scott's trip to LVO
Right.
this past weekend, and get to hear how his painting lessons went. But Phil's here, Sean's here. Hello, Chris, Scott.
What's going on, guys? Yeah, we had a couple of regulars from the store go to LVO, and everybody said it was a great time. One of our regulars got silver in one of the categories. He was playing Emperor's Children, and I think he went 4 and 2.
Okay.
So he made it into the elimination rounds and stuff.
What, for Horus Heresy or for 40k?
For 40k. For 40k.
Wow, of the 1,200 people playing in the 40k tournament.
Yeah, he did pretty well.
Wow, that's super impressive.
Yeah, beautiful army. Like his army looks great. He's playing Emperor's Children, like Slaneshi Marines. So he's got like a bunch of like his Terminator, like all of his stuff is basically like bright pastel pink. And then he has like lots of like black details and stuff, and he did a bunch of like head swaps and a lot of conversion work. Like his army looks great. It looks really, really good.
Awesome. That's very cool. Scott said he had a great time, learned lots from Matt Sextwish, hung out with a fair amount of my hobby heroes. Nice. That's always fun to do.
I will say I was a little bummed to hear that Caleb got his
oh yeah,
the Primarch stolen. I was like, dude, are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's terrible.
I'm hoping that it's everybody's right. It's got to be on a camera somewhere. I've been to Vegas enough times that every single casino and every single hotel, even the sidewalks outside, there's cameras everywhere. Yep. Just because there's so much celebrity there, and there's so much money involved, and there's so many people from out of town that there's just cameras all over the place. So somebody's got to have that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was his Vulcan, his Horus Ascended. Yep. Which just came out like a couple of weeks ago, and then the new Angron, which was going to be teased, which is out in 2 weeks.
Yep, the Demon Prince, Demon Prince Angron. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. And well, the other thing as well is everyone's on the lookout for it now. So if they pop up on eBay or Craigslist or something like that, somebody's going to spot them. So Facebook Marketplace.
So a friend of mine made the comment. He was like, "Do you think that people even realized what it was?" And I was like, I find it hard to believe that there were people in there that like weren't gamers or part of the. I mean, it's possible, but like if that was the case and you weren't a gamer, like why would you even grab that box
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Why do you grab a table war case?
Yeah. Like, so, I don't know.
You hear stories all the time of people like snatching pistol cases and gun cases out of cars, smashing the windows with guns. But they're not guns, they're miniatures instead.
Yeah, they're like, oh, it's a Carnifex.
Right. Excellent. Scott said he got drunk and went along with the Germans to some GW private event and mistaken as a 40k judge and gave a rousing speech in the influencers room about how important the work us influencers do is.
Influencers aren't real.
It was clear I was not invited. Fantastic.
Nice work, Scott.
Good work. Good work indeed. That makes me chuckle hard.
Oh man.
Good one.
So would you other than looking at the LVO stuff, what did you work on this week?
Well, I'll come back to that one, but I can't remember. Had I finished up I think I'd finished up my word bearers last week, but I finished up the basing for them.
Nice.
So now that's another 10 tactical marines to add to that. So essentially all except for like Erebus and Corferon. They're the only models for my word bearers that are assembled and primed, but not painted.
Okay. So saving them for last?
Yeah, they're definitely last, but maybe like after I paint all the other miniatures in the world.
So are you gonna do Corferon in the classic, like the Ashen Circle armor?
In the grey, yeah.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah,
you'll have to give me your paint lowdown for how to paint your dudes, because I've decided that the dreadnought arm that's on my my Leviathan's base is going to be a word bearer's dreadnought arm.
Oh, sure. It's burnt red and bright pyrrole red, wherever that is.
You'll have to send me whatever the Games Workshop equivalents are, or the Iron Paint equivalents are. I don't have any of that paint, so.
Oh no, I'm just going to tell you what the Pro Acro ones are. You have to work it out from there.
Sweet, thanks, buddy.
What? You're the one who's messing with my word bearers. Excellent. But I also painted up a bunch of.
I'll just paint it black, and then on the arm, I'll just write Dave Taylor's word bearers.
Sure, that's the way to go.
That'll work.
You can do that.
That'll work.
Painted up. Started working on my what do you call them? Raven Guard.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So I have some Raven Guard tactical marines.
Did you use like a little bit of like bluish gray on the highlights, or is that just the way the light? Okay.
No, I did. I started with so I got my signature series paints showed up. So in the Vince Venturella set is Payne's gray.
Nice.
So I got that one and started by doing some Richard Gray stippling.
Okay.
On there, just in sort of the highlight areas, and then started mixing in some of the turquoise with the gray, and then right on the edges where there was going to be scratching, I used the turquoise. So,
oh right, because these are your Alpha Legion.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So I've got 10 of those guys done, and then I started on the Tartarus Terminators for the Raven Guard as well.
I love the Tartaros guys. They look super cool.
Sure.
I always think that I'm not a huge fan of the Cataphracti. I like rules wise they're great. I just don't particularly like the way they look. I don't like the big hanging like Paterges thing. Like I love the idea of Paterges, but on the Cataphracti it just looks weird. They look like birthday cakes.
I love them.
Can't handle it. The Tartaros armor looks cool.
It does look cool. I like it too. It's my second favorite Terminator armor.
I do have a soft spot for the Indominus armor. What is it?
Indominus.
Is it the Indominus pattern? Is that's like the crazy, the Space Hulk pattern armor?
That's the standard 40k pattern. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's like I love that one.
Yep. No, definitely cool. So I've done those, and then I built. I bought.
Oh, nice.
Ironfather Ferios.
Dude, you should have just bought the Iron Hands Army box.
I was tempted, but
that box is disgusting. It's what 10 Is it? There are 10 intercessors.
10 intercessors.
And then 2 redemptors.
Yep.
Pharios, and then a tech marine.
No, I don't think there's no tech marine in it. It's got the extra bits. It's got the extra iron hand gubbins.
There's I was looking at it today with a guy. There's Pharios and a Primaris tech marine plus 10 marines plus 2 redemptors. Like that
Plus
box
the bits.
is insane.
Yeah. No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm all right. I was thinking about it though. Like afterwards, I was like, before I opened up Pharios, I was like, I could take this back and I could get that whole box. But I really am not going to do a Primaris army, so I don't need those other bits.
Did you get the picture I sent you of we had Sagittars in stock?
I did see that. Yes, thank you.
No worries. I told you I'd let you know.
Really cool.
So Sean says he's working on Lumineth Blade Lords.
Cool.
I had a really good conversation with a guy in my store today about elves. We're hoping that when Old World comes out next year, that we're gonna get like, all the stuff that doesn't exist, like Bretonians, and I'm really hoping they bring back like Wood Elves.
Okay.
I loved running Wood Elves. I think they were super cool. So we're talking about like right now your only choices are there's like the Lumineth, so like almost classic high elves.
Yep.
And then you've got like the Ideneth, which are like a new fish elf.
Yep.
And then you've got Daughters, which is half the dark elf range.
Right. Yep.
So I'm like, he was like, oh, I hope they bring back dark elves. I'm like, I bet you'll get like new dark elves, hopefully new like wood elves. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah. Eventually.
Scott said he got the full pro acro range, a bunch of cool things, and 2 bronze awards in the Jabroni painting bracket.
Nice. I'm glad they had a Jabroni bracket.
Yeah, seriously. He said he got a taste for competition painting, and he committed to playing Malifaux. Dave, Kieran, and Levy and him are going to try to go to Nova either this year or next. Fantastic. I mean, well, if he plays, like now they're up to like 9 players, so that's pretty. You guys are going to break that double-digit mark, I think, soon. That's good. I love those. I love the models. I just like. Yeah. I think I know think of all the hundreds of people we know in the gaming industry.
Yep.
I think now counting Scott, I think I know 5 people who play.
Right. It's
just bizarre to me.
Yeah.
Chris jumped on. What's up, Chris? Chris Gorga says he's rusting up a Chaos Knight.
Nice.
Dan says he just finished assembly of his Aeronautica Sons of Horus. Thunderhawk is the Thunderhawk is such a great model. I love that thing.
Yep. Absolutely cool. That's awesome.
I have speaking of Horus Heresy stuff.
Yep.
I have a weird question that I'm hoping you or somebody on here can figure out.
Yep.
So on one of the GW pages, there is a picture of Iron Warrior stuff, and they teased it when they did all the Legion breakdowns.
Okay.
So when you click on it, it shows you some of the new stuff they're doing, and there's the girl with the blue hair who shows you how to paint Iron Warriors.
Right, yeah.
When you click on the video, it shows that Marine, but the Marine she paints is not that one. Okay. And it is a different color, and I want to do the same wash that they have on the armor, and I have no idea what it is, because it's a super weird combo. I'll see if I can find it, and I'll send it to you, and we can put it up somewhere so people can all take a look at it. And
see if we can work it out. We'll be
I'm like, part of my brain is like, is it Reichland Fleshshade? Because like he just looks different. Like I don't. Okay. He has an armor finish that I don't you normally do, so I don't know what it is.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. We can check it out. We can have a look. But right. I'm excited. I'll show you my Forge Lord in a moment. But initially, I was going to do their basing, like the Wordbearer basing, to kind of match that. But then I realized that if I was going with the Forge Lord, I wanted to do that so that I could run Thalax.
Yeah.
And I have my Thalax all on Dragonforge Tech Deck bases.
Nice.
So I got in touch with Jeff and said, hey, how's the Tech Deck going? And he goes, wow, I'm actually just designing some new ones. So he's got new 32s, 40s. I think he was molding 50s today. So, but he already had the 32s and the 40s up on the website, so I placed an order for those today.
Okay.
So they'll all go on the new Tech Deck bases. So something new, something different, but it'll all match in nicely with the other stuff, all the Thalax models that I have.
Nice.
They're pretty cool. Yay! So that means that I'm like a third of the way in the army done,
Nice work.
essentially. Not really.
I really like the. I
There's
really
loads
like
more to do.
the bigger. I like the bigger automata.
Oh, the Castellax.
That thing's awesome. And then what's the big one with like the plasma like launcher on its shoulder?
Plasma Bombard. The Thanatar.
Yeah, what is that?
The
That
Thanatar.
that thing's awesome.
Yeah. It is super sweet.
At some point, if they put those out in plastic, I will have to do a unit of those because I can ally them with my Iron Warriors, which is cool.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, I just think I don't know if they're good or not. I assume that they're good, but like, I just think they look awesome.
Yeah.
And then what's the other one? Is it the Ursus or the close combat ones of the one you just showed, right?
The Ursarax. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like the ones with the bear claws and stuff. Yeah,
Yep.
they just look cool.
The Ursarax. And then there's the Vorax, which are they're more they're kind of more insectile, or at least their heads are insectile. They've got the big praying mantis looking eyes, and they've got clawed limbs that have rotor cannons attached to them. So they're faster, sneakier. But yes, they will blow apart regular humans.
I am a sucker for the what is it? The Ambots, the Ambot robots from like I keep looking at them being like, oh, I want to convert them into something. Like I think they look amazing, so I'm probably going to use one of them and convert it into my Warsmith.
Okay, yeah, that'd be cool.
It's about Terminator size. It's a little bit bigger.
It's bigger, yeah, definitely bigger.
But it's not as big as like the Iron Circle, the Iron Maniple robots.
No,
which
it's
are
not the Domitars. No, it's not as big as
it's not as big
Domitar.
as a Domitar. So
Yeah.
because originally I was going to use those as my Domitars, but I'm like, oh, they're way too small. I can't do that.
Right. Yeah.
But it looks cool. It looks awesome.
It does. It does for sure. Sean said I would play 3rd edition Malifaux, but there isn't anyone around in my area playing. I have 6 crews. We used to play 2E. You can still play more 2E.
See, he doesn't count. He used to play 2E. He doesn't play 3, so he's not a Malifaux player.
Not a
He used to
Malifaux
be.
player? Okay, right here.
He doesn't count. I'm not adding you to my count.
Josh says, greetings from the pocket dimension. Oh.
What's going on, Josh?
I wonder if Josh is watching on his phone.
Maybe.
He
said Ambots can be converted into an Orc boss in Mega Armor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I've seen that. That's a cool conversion.
Yep.
Cliff said he's thought about adding 3 or so Domitar farm. Yeah, that the Domitar class robots and the rule to do the Iron Circle thing, like, is just insane. Like they're so good, and they all have those stupid shields, so you can't shoot at anything in the unit. And yeah, they're pretty awesome.
They are good.
They're way bigger than I thought they were.
Right. Well,
Like they're like Contemptor size.
They are. Yeah.
Like they're skinnier.
They are. Yep.
But they're like Contemptor skeletons with like shields and hammers.
Yeah. Got all the good stuff.
Oh, fine, Sean. I'll count you. 6.
Yep. But yeah, as Cliff says, at $102 each, they take every hit to the wallet. It is true.
I think we're gonna get them in plastic. I think at some point we will.
Yeah.
Like maybe not the Iron Circle ones, but I think we'll get the Mechanicus like versions, and then you can just convert them.
I hope so. But I think that's a ways off.
Yeah. Oh, it is. I mean, they're still cranking stuff out.
There's like 2 dozen more Space Marine tanks to release before then, and then assault squads.
Yeah.
Destroyer squads.
I'm waiting for plastic. I need plastic Moritats. Plastic sabers would be cool.
Yeah. Box of 3 of those.
Yeah, you could do them like. Well, how big are they?
They're smaller than rhinos.
But they're bigger than what's the Nurgle, the angry golf cart?
Oh, the Plague Burst Crawler?
Yeah, I always forget.
No,
There's so many
not
names.
that one.
I'm like, it's all Plague something. So
yeah.
So
No,
like, are they bigger than that?
The Blight Hauler. The Blight Hauler.
Are they? What are they? Are they like the same size as like the new quad bike, the Primaris quad like go kart thing?
Probably. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be a decent box if there's 3 of them.
It would be.
You could do 2.
Chris said that Dan learned about Iron Circle last weekend.
Oh yeah, Dan. So Chris got 2 games in last week. I forget how many points he can tell us. But he played Dan, and then he played our buddy Brian Steele, who you know.
Yep.
And like apparently Chris like cleaned up and just showed up, and like, you know, the Sons of Dorne were like, okay, no prisoners, and just like, you know, showed up and started slapping people around. Dan says it's the Mephitic Blighthauler.
Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Plastic Demos Vindicators. Yeah, I
Yep.
could see that.
You're gonna have those. Well, see, there'll be a Vindicator box with the Demolisher cannon, and then there'll be a Vindicator box with the laser array, and then there'll be a.
It's driving me nuts, man. And I know you're right. Like, I know that's why they're doing it. I get it. But I'm like,
Yeah.
even way back, we worked for the company back in 2003. I remember being like, why isn't there just a Predator box that comes with like a Chaos upgrade sprue,
Yep.
a Blood Angels Ball Predator sprue, and then like a Vindicator sprue and a Whirlwind sprue? I'm like, you could make one box and it would literally knock out like 9 SKUs. I'll be like, I'll just order 9 of them. Like, I'll still carry a bunch of them, but like now I don't need to have 19 different boxes. It's just,
Yeah.
it doesn't make any sense.
For sure.
I mean, they've gotten better. Like now you remember when the Razorback was its own box?
Yep.
And now it's not. It makes a Rhino Razorback.
Okay.
But there's still a Sisters Rhino and a Chaos Rhino. And I'm like, oh, guys, just get it together.
Unnecessary.
Yeah, I'm like, just put in, or even if you wanted to make like a Sisters vehicle sprue and a Chaos vehicle sprue, you're like, oh, cool, I'll buy this sprue for $18,
Yep.
and then I buy a Rhino. Like, I just don't know why. Yeah, Cliff gets it. 1 Predator box, 1 Land Raider box. Like,
I know. Excellent. But yeah, so that's what I've been working on, and I have a game tomorrow night of first game in a Warcry campaign.
oh, nice. Dude, Ben loves Warcry.
Yeah.
He like all the different factions and stuff. He really likes the new dog guys. Like, have you seen them?
No, which ones are?
So they're like a chaos. They're a chaos warband.
Yep.
That apparently like worships
Oh, radio. Yeah.
the 3-headed fleshhound.
Yep.
So they all wear like fleshhound masks,
Yeah.
and there's one guy running on all 4s, and so Ben is convinced that design team
Yep.
literally has no guardrails. Like,
Oh, sure, it doesn't. No.
yeah, like they're just sitting in there, and it's like, hey, I have an idea. What if I make a warband that worships the 3-headed warhound? And they're like, sounds good. Let's get on it. Let's try that out.
Yep.
So
Yep. The I remember way back in the start when Warcry was released, there was one of the podcasts that they did, and Wade Price was talking about how there's a great way to explore chaos, and talking about like Khorne. And you go, well, Khorne's into like brass, blood, and skulls. He said, wouldn't it be great though to just have guys like warbands that drill really deep, and like they worship blood in all its forms, just blood. So they're very focused on blood. And then these guys are all about the skulls, and these guys are all about fleshhounds, and these guys are all about making stuff out of brass. And then you like exploring the different aspects, but just really drilling down into it rather than we can't put all these things on a model. Well,
right. No, I think it's really cool. I think that right now that game is probably that's one of the freshest games that they have, just because like everything in it is new. Like every single, it's like, oh, I'm familiar with Chaos Warbands, and it's like, right, but you've never seen this Chaos Warband. Like they are totally different.
Yeah.
And there's like the new, who do they come against? It's like these like monk aesthetic vampires.
Oh yeah, yep.
And I was like, okay, that could be kind of neat. So
One thing I did notice with that that Khorne warband is that there are 2. Did I mention this last week? Maybe I didn't.
What?
I can't remember. No, I probably didn't. But there are 2 models with spears that have like the grotesque face masks.
okay.
That would be perfect. Like you take those heads off those guys and stick them on Cadian bodies, and you've got blood pacts.
Okay. Are you talking about the jackals?
No, There's a bunch of great masks in the Jackal's box as well. But no, if you go and have a look at that new Fleshhound worshipping.
Okay. Yeah. There's the guys that have just the faces. Yeah.
The face, they just have the faces. They don't have the.
Yeah, just the face. Yeah, they don't have they don't have the exactly the frilled collar.
Yeah. Excellent.
Oh, that box is great.
We can't put all this stuff on a model. Dave Taylor, hold my beer, design dude.
Solid.
Thanks, Cliff. Hey, you must have seen the new overcompensators.
Ugh.
So
The
we'll move
what
right
are
on.
they,
Move right along. But yeah. So what about you? Have you had a game? Did you play?
I did not get a game in. The time that the free time that I had, I was building the models, which Ben was like, I don't know if you're going to pull this off. I don't know if you're going to get these done. And I was like, all right, I'll take them home. So I worked on them late last night, and then I got up this morning and finished them so I would have them done for the show.
Right.
I basically started. So we talked on Tuesday.
Yep.
And then Wednesday, I was like, I'm going to go in. I'm going to build those guys. I'm going to start working on them. And I got to the store, and it was a zoo. And I was like, okay, cool. I will work on them later. And that just didn't happen.
Right.
So then Thursday, I went in, and I got in a little bit early. So I snipped all of the resin bits and cleaned them up, cut off all the extra stuff, and then put them all in a box. And my trick is I have Dawn detergent, like Dawn dishwashing detergent.
Yep.
Like grease cutting action. So I sprayed it in the water and shook it up, and then dropped all the pieces in it, and I just left it overnight.
Okay.
That's usually my go-to. So then Friday I come in, dumped everything out, rinsed everything off, and then dried and cleaned everything.
Yep.
And then put all the dry pieces into my bits box.
Yep.
I try to sort it, so I have like all the leg pieces, all the weapons,
yep,
all the upper body stuff, and then I didn't have any arms because it's the resin forgeable kit, so it doesn't come with arms.
Right.
It is the shoulders, but that's it. So then
should we jump into the photos?
Sure.
We got photos.
Yeah, but that was my week. That was what I worked on. I worked on building 2 Leviathans all week.
2 Leviathans. Nice. Dave Hummel's here. Hey, Dave. Howdy from Jefferson City, Missouri, which is where Dave is now. Josh also says 1 box to rule them, 1 box to rule them, 1 box to find them, 1 box to bring them all, and in the darkness of your basement hobby space to bind them.
Nice.
Very cool.
I hear to bin them, so I think that means just to put them in like your bits box.
All right, bin them. Yep. He says it's friggin' cold in Missouri. I believe it would be.
I've never been to Missouri.
I'm sure it is quite cold. Sure, it's much
they're
colder
in the
than
middle
like
of
Yuma, Arizona.
They're in the middle of that like crazy like winter storm that's like shutting down like the entire like southern part of the country.
Yep, that one. Oh, Cat Swiss here. Hey, Cat. Glad you could join us. So, just before we do go on and talk a little bit more about your building experience this week, Jake, I just want to show this photo. A friend of mine posted this. Apparently, this was an Iron Hands army from LVO, and
that is brutal.
It is an absolutely brutal army. It's the Fury of the Ancients Rite of War, and it has 3 Talons of 3 Contemptor Dreadnoughts each in there. There's 1 Contemptor that would be the Venerable Ancient, so the one that leads the army. There are 4 Derodeo Dreadnoughts, they're the ones with the flashy red plasma and massive missile racks on them there, and a Leviathan. So that's 15 Dreadnoughts, all toughness 7 or higher, and 6 wounds or higher. 2+ saves.
Dude, that is brutal.
5+ invulnerable saves. That's an absolutely brutal army, and because it's Iron Hands, and they don't count as vehicles, that means that incoming fire to them reduces its strength by 1. So they're even tougher. Yes. Yes. Fury. Cliffhedder's Fury of the Ancients equals that guy. Yeah.
I do think it's kind of a sad sack move that he went to all the trouble to make this army.
Yeah.
He didn't base them.
Yeah. Well, he just sprayed them all black, didn't he?
Are they even black? They look like they're metal.
No, they're black, and he's picked out some of the weapons in metal and bits and pieces. But it's an Iron Hands army, right? It's all black. But yeah,
that list is brutal.
absolutely. It's obviously one that if you know that you're going to face it, you can build an army against it. But in a tournament, no way.
Yeah, I mean, just in general, like that list in a tournament is going to be insane.
Yep, absolutely.
Like the Dorados in particular, like the only good news is, and I think he did this to deal with infantry. He gave the Dorados the Volkites.
Are they Volkites?
Those are the Volkites. Unless he's using them as something else. Those look like the Volkite arms.
I didn't know that. I didn't know it had Volkite arms.
I didn't think they could either, but that looks like a Volkite.
It does, yeah.
I will check right now.
Check right now. Have a look for us. But
it could just be plasma, which is probably what it should be.
yeah, that's what I'd run it again.
Yeah, so they come with Anvilus autocannons and the 4 Boreas anti-defense missiles,
Right.
which it looks like he upgraded all of the missiles to the Iolos missile launcher, which is 5. And then you can swap the autocannons out for Volkite Falconets for free.
Oh, okay, radio.
Those are all the Volkite Falconets.
Yep.
And they're great, but like we were talking about this the other day, if you're fighting against anybody that has normal saves, like they're great against like guard, but against like anything with a good save, Volkite just isn't that great. It's always the same. So that their strength 5 or strength 6, AP 5.
Yeah.
So Space Marines are like, cool, I make all my normal saves, and then it's like anytime you take wounds after failed saves, the first time you take that many more wounds. So theoretically they can spill, but against anything that's got good armor saves and like decent toughness, they're just not great. I think the autocannons would have been better. At least you'd have better range. But again, that's like the only part of his army that you're like, oh man, like there's a potential weakness. Like otherwise, this army's gonna be brutal to deal with.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So first picture here I've got here is your bits box, full of Leviathan bits. So I guess this is after you've washed them.
Yeah, so this is they've been washed and soaked and then dried. So the left hand side is like it's feet and legs and like it's anything from the basically the waist down, and then the middle one is all the weapons. So it's like the heads and like the phosphex dischargers and all the carapace mounted weapons, and then the middle one, the one on the right, is basically everything else. So it's like arms and the torsos and like all the engine blocks and stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah, they weren't that bad. Believe it or not, the Forge World kits are relatively easy because there are not that many pieces.
Right.
Which sounds crazy because there's still a lot of pieces. But...
Excellent. Well, the next picture was the one that surprised me the most. It's right there. The Alpha Omega branded hobby knife.
Yeah. That's an Alpha Omega branded pocket knife.
Pocket knife. Sure.
The first thing I do is I basically build the torsos. So, you put the head in, put the top on, put the sides on, I put the back on, put the engine block, mount the carapace weapons, mount the sides, put the phosphex discharger on top. So like that thing is literally just a cube.
Right.
But that's like about 2/3 of the parts.
Yeah.
For the model are that. So like at this point all I had left was the 2 shoulder pieces.
Yep.
And then like the groin armor and then the legs.
Right.
So like this is the bulk of the parts. But yeah, the knife actually, believe it or not, was actually a lot more handy than trying to use a hobby knife.
Okay.
So I folded pieces and then just like shaving, because it's resin, so I was shaving off like ribbons of resin to like clean it up, and I was like, oh, this is actually way easier than me trying to use my auger.
That was a brand new knife, right? It was sharp as.
Yeah.
Right.
But it was good. This
Excellent.
knife's great. It's got a little bottle opener on the back there, and the end of the handle's a screwdriver.
Excellent.
Gorilla Brand super glue is probably my favorite. That and like the gel Loctite, they're the best super glues around.
Right.
It works so good, and you can get away with using just a little bit, and it's like it's thick enough and kind of viscous that it's not going to run. It stays where you put it.
Right.
So that was basically step 2. Step 1 was washing everything. Step 2 was building the torsos or the upper bodies.
Step 3, I guess, then was starting the basing, putting the legs on.
Yeah. So the
feet.
The biggest thing that I've noticed when you look at all of the bases, every single person that I've seen, so many of the Leviathans that I've seen, they all just have that like straightforward, like feet shoulder width apart, like arms out straight, like they just look like boxes.
Right.
And I understand it, particularly with the resin one. It is really hard to work with resin because if you, they're super static pose. Like Dave gets it. So, the first thing I do is I put some big pieces on the base to like break it up, and I'll go back later on and I'll do basing stuff, and I'll put in like tufts of grass. But that's the old GW large basing kit.
Right. Okay.
And then I put some of the like concrete looking pieces in the back and under the foot. Those are from the Gale Force 9 Urban Rubble basing kit.
Okay. Yep.
Those are the big blocks. It's like soapstone. So I always try to make my guys a little more dynamic and shift them around. And then once I figure out how the base is going to look, I figure out where I'm going to put the feet.
Right.
So I always take the foot that has like the sort of the crow foot stance.
Yep.
The one that's like bent, not flat. And I put that on something.
Right.
So I reversed them. So the one on the left he's stepping down. And then the one on the right, he has 1 foot up.
Right. Yep. You know that Gale Force 9 concrete slab bits? The way they did that was they'd take a cookie sheet, like a tray that, not just a sheet, but the tray that has the raised lip, and fill that with a dense plaster.
Okay.
And occasionally they'd rather than doing it level, just tilt it a little bit so you got some thick parts and some thin parts. But yeah, then once that was dried, once that had cured,
drop it,
turn it upside down, hit it with a hammer, pick up the bits.
It's awesome. Like it's great stuff. It works really well. It looks awesome once it's dry. It looks like literally chunks of masonry or concrete. So
yeah, no, it's definitely good, and it's easy to drill and stick in like a little paper clip as like a piece of rebar.
Yeah.
There we go. The next one.
So I glue the feet down. That's like the next move once I figure out where I want them.
Yep. And then you start gluing the legs together. You put them.
Yeah.
in.
So I'll figure out roughly how I want the legs, like what position I want them in.
Yep.
So I'll sort of put them together at the knee. Don't put the knee pads in, and then I kind of will hold them and kind of readjust them and figure out where I want them. And then once I got that, I'll kind of make a mental note, and then I'll glue one at a time. And then once I have them ready, then I'll glue them in place with the like holding like the groin like pivot bit.
Yep.
Like glue that. You got to glue it all at once because you can't do it one at a time.
You mean the pelvis?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'll do it all. I do all 3 of those pieces at once. So it's basically right leg, left leg, pelvis, and I have to put glue. I usually put the glue on the legs, not on the pelvis, and then I'll hold the pelvis with 2 fingers and kind of position the legs, and then hold it all together. And then once I've got it in the right place, I just squeeze it. And then wait a second. This actually worked out pretty good. I did have to break the one on the right, the far right foot, the one that's on like the piece of like gray like flooring.
Yep.
I had to break that one off and reposition it because I put them too far apart, so I couldn't get the pelvis to like line up.
Oh, right. Okay. Yep.
Because the way that there's like the bell bottom.
Yeah.
For like where the armor plate sticks onto the foot, and I couldn't get it to seat right because of the angle it was at.
Right.
That was the only thing that I was like, oh, I thought it would, because like the legs looked great. I was like, oh, this will be fine. I'll just reposition them. And then once I got them on, I was like, oh, I can't angle them in enough, so I had to break that one off.
Right.
But But that's the next thing. I think if you do this, I think it's so much easier to give all of your models a little more dynamism and make them look like they're doing something instead of just like standing there like a sad robot.
Right. Poor sad robots.
Yeah.
Um,
They definitely are. There's a kid who built one in our store and he brought it in. He was like really happy about it and he painted it. Looks awesome, but it literally it's standing like this. It's just like,
yeah.
and I'm like, oh, come on, man. He's a Leviathan.
But he's a Leviathan. Next up, we have the torsos. So, what'd you do with these guys? So once you got the torsos, you've got the arms.
Yeah, so I kind of figured out like so I'm gonna because the Iron Warriors are they're a Greek sort of ancestry legion.
Right.
These are gonna be the twins. This is gonna be Castor and Pollux.
Okay.
So I wanted them to be similar but offset. So they're both kind of backwards from each other.
Right.
So I have the one on the right. I tilted his head all the way to the left, and I have him. So like the storm cannon is kind of at rest.
Yep.
And then he's like blasting somebody with the melta-gun. And then the other one, I had him striding forward, so he's got the melta lance out, and then the other claw is closed because he's not using the melta-gun. And then I kind of figured out how I wanted them to be posed, so I built them like this. And then I actually went back and forth a couple times on the legs to see which one would work on which set of legs.
Okay.
And they worked pretty well on both. The one with the claw out, he looked great on either set of legs.
Yeah.
But then once I got this done and glued everything in place, this was a little weird because the arms are from the new GW plastic kit.
Right.
So the arms are all plastic. Everything else on the model is resin.
Okay. So is it just from the sprue, or did you need to get a whole?
No, they're from the sprue.
Just,
So
just from
Ben
the sprue. Yep.
Ben had a ranged Leviathan, and then he bought a set of combat arms.
Okay.
And then was like, dude, I'm never gonna get to this. And I was like, I really need the arms. He's like, just you can have them.
Cool.
So now upstairs I have a plastic Leviathan that I haven't built yet that doesn't have any arms. So at some point I'll have to buy another arm kit.
Sure.
No. The two sprues that he had was able for me to equip both these guys. Originally, one of these guys was gonna have the lance, and the other guy was gonna have 2 claws.
Right. Okay.
Or a claw and a drill. But I was like, okay, I can't do that. So
Yeah.
I was like, storm cannon array it is.
Yep. And of course, books be saying magnetize, but
Yeah.
and here we go. This is them, fully assembled and built. Huzzah!
Yeah, they were fun.
Yep.
The little dragon's tooth I put on there, that's from Reaper.
Okay.
Reaper does a little set of 3 dragon's teeth. And I don't know why. I'm like, what game do you guys make that you need this
Yeah.
for? But yeah, there's a little, one of their little blister packs that has 3 dragon's teeth in it. I was like, this is awesome. So stuck them on there.
Cool.
But it was fun. I got to mess with them a lot, and it worked out great because of the way they're striding. It's like a natural pose. Like when you walk, if your right leg is forward, your right hand is back. So they're like they match up like they're walking. So it worked out pretty good.
Yeah.
They got the iconic Melta Lance. I think he came out great. I really like the way that he's like sitting back about to just smoke somebody.
Yeah. I am.
Nice.
I didn't do a big step, but there is a step, and to get that same look with the arms opposite the legs.
You tilt him so he's moving.
I twisted the torso. Yeah.
Yep.
And a little bit of a tilt on the. So
It looks great, man. I like the side extenders on the plastic kit that you can put on.
yeah, they look great, and I figured for Iron Hands it's going to look appropriate.
They're super fun. This is probably it might not be my favorite kit to build, but it's definitely it's my favorite kit that exists. Like I just think the Leviathan is like the coolest thing.
Yeah.
It draws so much from the Dreadnought that I grew up with, the box pattern Dreadnought. And they were like, what if we just made it like way bigger and made it more realistic? And I was like, perfect. I'm on board. This is amazing.
Right. Yep.
I really want to run the you can't because it doesn't exist, but the Red Scorpions.
Okay.
There's a Red Scorpions Dreadnought that's a Leviathan, and it has a loadout you can't get. It has 2, I think it's plasma guns on its chest.
Okay.
And then its left arm is twin-linked assault cannons.
Oh, nice.
Like not assault cannon, but a pair of them.
Yep.
And then its right arm, instead of having the tripartite claw,
Yep.
it has like an offset claw, so it has 2 and a thumb.
Okay.
So it looks like a hand, and I was like, that's just sick. I think it's, oh no, Commander Cullen is the commander. It's it's whatever the named dreadnought is for the Red Scorpion.
Right.
So I was like, oh man, that thing looks awesome.
Well, you should still do it and just use it as a storm cannon.
Yeah, I guess I could do that.
Yeah.
It's such a cool looking model though. It looks great.
Yeah.
But they were fun, and I also can't get over how big they are.
Right. Yeah.
Like, they are large boys.
They are huge. I love it. Love it.
But they were fun. And like the flamethrowers are great. They got the heavy flamethrowers. I'll do the heat damage effect like I did on my Flesh Eaters one. So I'll fade it all the way out to like blues and purples and then into black.
Right.
Which will give them a little bit of spot color because they're Iron Warriors, so it's gonna be lots of metal. But I figure I'll probably do on one of them. I'm gonna do one of the bulkheads with stripes.
Yep.
And I'll probably do like a knee pad or something. And then the other one I was gonna do like all black.
Okay.
And do stripes on like one of the legs and one of the arms just to break them up.
Okay. Cool.
I mean, with the other thing that's great about this model is like a tank, it's got those big flat sections.
Yep.
So you can do lots of like freehand stuff and kind of like go to town on them. So
yeah, that's cool. So with the Forge World ones, they're what do you call it? That front plate, that's one piece, right?
On the what one?
On the Forge World Leviathans, the front, like these pieces that's a single.
Oh
piece,
yeah,
right?
yeah. That's all one piece. I mean, it's one on each side, but yeah.
Yeah. On the plastic.
That's 3, right?
Pardon?
It's 3, right?
I think so. But
it's the first little chest piece.
Yeah, this part here, and so there's a seam line here.
Yep.
So as I say, I know that we've talked about sprue goo before. It was one way to tackle it. Oh, I finally got myself some.
Nice.
So I've got some. I don't have any sprue goo going yet. I'm gonna wait until I get about halfway through that bottle and then get another one. But thankfully, as well, with it being plastic, if you put enough glue, like plastic glue, in there and squeeze it, you'll get that little bead that comes out. So you can trim that off, and it's nice and smooth. Or one of the things I wanted to mention where is it?
You have a cup of water next to me, so I'll dip my thumb in it and real quick just wipe it off if it squirts out.
Okay. Oh, I haven't tried that before.
Yeah, if you do it with just your finger, you'll smudge it.
Sure.
And it'll have that smudge line. But if you keep your finger a little bit wet,
right.
like if you have a sponge or your wet palette or something, just dip it in and then just real quick just whip it off with your finger, and it'll keep the end looking nice and crisp.
Okay, interesting. The other one I was going to suggest is if you have if you're building anything that has a larger gap in it, I think I've mentioned it before, but Bondo.
Yep.
Bondo spot and glazing putty. You can get it in a reasonably cheap from a auto parts store. And
gray stuff works too. Like I know Gale Force 9 still stocks gray stuff.
Right. Just just mix it up and put it in. But one of the great things about the glazing putty is that it melts the plastic.
Oh, okay. I've never used that.
Basically, it doesn't just fill the gap. It connects very firmly to the rest of the plastic, and then you can sand it down. Obviously, this is designed to go into cracks and gaps and be sanded. So it works really well. I usually have a thing of it floating around, but I don't know where it is exactly. But we'll find it.
What we got?
Dave says, I can see doing a dynamic pose with the Contemptor and the Primaris Dread, and but the Derrideo and the Leviathan tend not to lend themselves to dynamic, just because they're top heavy. That's true.
See, it is to a certain point. Like, it is definitely harder with the Derrideo, because it doesn't have
that extra point of articulation.
Yeah. There's the only articulation is the waist and the knees.
Yeah.
But I still think it makes a huge difference. Like somebody did I saw one that was painted up in a competition, and it was a Derrideo, and they had a what did they have? They had like they had taken like the wing of something. I don't know what it was. It was definitely 40K looking. It was just like an engine mount and like a bit of a wing crashed into the ground, and the Derrideo had its foot up on it.
Right. Okay.
And even that, I was like, oh man. So it definitely had that look of like, yeah, I just shot this down.
It's doing something. Yeah.
Like, I just shot this guy down. I'm gonna shoot down the rest of the squadron.
Right.
He's definitely hard. That thing basically looks like a battleship turret on legs. The Leviathan, I think it's relatively easy to do. Like they look really blocky and chunky, but they've got tons of articulation. I mean, you can move them. They can do wrist positioning, elbow positioning, upper arm positioning, shoulder positioning, waist positioning, hips positioning, like knees, ankles. Like they've got a lot more articulation than the old box tread, which was like, I'm an angry soda machine.
Yeah. Sure.
So
And you just swing at the waist.
yeah. Yeah, seriously. I mean, yeah, you could hang out with the waist, and you could move his guns, like that was it. And they only moved this way. You couldn't even change the angles.
Yeah. But nice stuff. Cliff said that he's definitely going to do the leg positioning thing first for the next Dreadnought. New plastic Leviathan can do it. Dreads are superposable now. Indeed.
Definitely easier with plastic, because like if you're using the plastic glue, it gives you a couple seconds of like moving stuff around.
Oh yeah.
Whereas with the super glue, like within seconds, like you're done. Like if you can't figure out where you want it right away, it's stuck there unless you break it. But
yeah. Keith's here. He's joined us. Hey Keith.
What's going on, Keith?
Excellent. Chris Gawker says now to let the rust dry.
Nice.
Excellent. And Cliff says baking soda and cyanoacrylate is another good gap filler.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that it is supposed to work. I haven't used it myself. How does it go with filing, Cliff? Is it okay, easy to file? Have to let us know. Dave Hummel says it's got me 2 more Leviathans and 2 more Contemptors to make it a total of 30 dreads. Nice.
I think if I got all my old stuff, I think I have like 10.
Right.
I think. Maybe 11. But I'm close. Like
Sure.
30 is a lot.
Yep, indeed. Cliff says it cures super fast and is very fileable. So that's cool. I have to give that a go. Try that.
You know what I do want to get that I want to add to my Dreadnought collection?
What's that?
I want the old, like the 2nd edition and the Rogue Trader edition Dreadnought.
Well,
the
there's a couple of them. There's Fury, there's Chuck, Fury, and Eddie.
All right, because they were named based on their loadouts, right?
Essentially, yeah. I think they.
I want the one that was always painted as a Blood Angel one. It always had the teeth painted on it.
Right.
It has the combat claws with the 2 heavy bolters on the back of its hands.
Right. That's probably Fury.
So good.
Yeah. Excellent.
They were little. They are not very big.
No, they are not. They are not.
They're about the same size as like a Centurion.
I was going to say Primaris Marine, but sure. Let's go Centurion. They're taller than Primaris.
They're definitely chunkier.
Yeah, for sure. They're kind of like peanuts. Yeah.
I was going to say that. It looks like a circus peanut with arms and legs on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that in the old rules, those were not. There was a pilot in them.
Yep. If you got one, you'd have to do like a Mr. Peanut. You'd put a top hat and a monocle on it.
So good. So good.
That'd be great. Cool. So yeah, I was going to show.
Yeah. Let's see. What did you build this week for Build Paint Play?
So I built this guy.
Nice.
So he is in Mark 10 Primaris armor, but I figured
Putty holding his head.
Pardon? Yeah, just Putty holding his head at the moment. But I figured that it's a prototype that Ferrus Manus would have built and sent off an example to Belisarius Cawl, who eventually gets around to like sorting it out. But I reduced the length of the haft of his axe, because in the original version is like crazy long. It's just like
it's like a halberd.
It's just hugely long, and I don't know why. So I brought it a little bit closer, and I wanted to use the studded shoulder pad.
Go to full screen. Go to full screen so people can see it.
I don't have a full screen version with me on it, but I am on the big. This is the biggest that we get at the moment. So, and I wanted to use the cloak and the studded shoulder pad from the
Cloak is awesome.
The Praetor, the Horus Heresy Praetor. And I also wanted to use that. I don't know if you can see it. The backpack with the skull rack.
Oh, the trophy rack? Yeah.
Yep.
Or prototype trophy rack, I should say.
Yeah. So that meant that I took his Iron Father Farios, took his Primaris backpack, and had to use my bone saw.
Seriously.
My razor saw to cut off some bits and reattach them to the backpack there.
That's pretty
places.
dope.
And I read, so he gets a thing called a Machinator array, which comes with a flamer. So I replaced the little, usually has a little burner down there. So I replaced the nozzle of that with a flamer from a combi flamer.
Right on.
And then replaced the heavy bolter that he usually has with a melter gun.
So that claw always cracks me up because I love the way that it looks, except that it looks like one of those like.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's definitely it's a claw machine claw. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm always like, how is that helpful? Like,
I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know the Forge Lord, but
if he opened up a garage and he's like, I got to do an oil change, and he leans over and he's strong enough that the Space Marine just takes the weight while he lifts your engine block out of your engine, and then he's like, oh, let me replace your whatever.
Yeah.
Like, sure, I get that, but on the battlefield, like is that just in case he drops a screwdriver? He's like, oh, you got to get that.
yeah. from inside something, inside a tank.
Yeah. I was like, I don't see how that's helpful.
Almost got it. One more time.
I dropped it. Hey, who's got a? Hey, give me one of your lodge coins. I got to put another coin in this thing.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a bit of clipping, some sawing, to get that cloak to go around the bottom of the that flamer arm. I had to slice some of that away, but in the end, I think it works out pretty well. So this will be my my warlord for the army.
Nice.
So he'll have that Morbius configuration warlord trait.
Oh, Mobius configuration is awesome.
Which will allow me to take the what do you call it? The salamanders as sacrificial offerings, which will be super cool.
So again, are you running them as? So you're running him as an Alpha Legionnaire tech priest.
Alpha Legionnaire, Forge Lord. Yeah.
Can you run him as a Forge Lord?
Well, yeah. You don't have a Praetor. You have a just run it as a consul.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, in Artificer armor, everybody can have them.
Nice.
And then I can take 3 squads of Thalax. I'll take take a squad of Breaches that'll look like Medusan Immortals. I'll take a probably 20-man tactical squad as well. Iron Hands tactical squad.
Nice.
10-man Raven Guard tactical squad. 5-men Tartarus Terminators. I've got a bunch of the Mark 6 guys with rotor cannons, which will be in my Raven Guard thing. And then I've got some more Dathan on the way from Forge World. So the snipers.
Those ones are great.
And from Pop Goes the Monkey, I've got 11 Nemesis bolters coming, so I'll do a 10-man recon squad as well.
Yeah, they're like special ammo stuff is just awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, should be fun. But we'll get there.
I'm
not gonna have it done by Adepticon.
No.
Unlike you.
If you want, bring. I'm trying to push it and see if I can do 2,500 points.
Okay.
I might try to shoot for 2,750.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely gonna do 2K.
Okay.
Like I can definitely get to 2K. I just don't know if I can do more.
Okay. We'll have to see.
If I try to do 2,750, basically all I would do is add pintle-mounted multi-meltas to every tank.
Right.
Put hunter killers and searchlights on every tank.
Yep.
And then do a warsmith with a HQ squad.
Yep.
And then do two more Tech Marines, a Tech Marine conclave.
Right.
And then put all of them in a Damocles Command Rhino.
Okay. Yep.
And then basically, so everything will start in a vehicle. It has to.
Yep.
And then on turn 1, the 2 Tech Marines will get out, and one will hang out with the Venator and the Dorado.
Yep.
And then the other one is going to follow the Command Sakaran and the other 2 Sakarans around.
Yep. He's going to run after them.
Yeah, well, because they're never going to move more than 8.
Right.
So they can shoot everything.
Yep.
And he'll just move 6, and then I'll have him run. He's not going to shoot.
Yep.
So I'll just have him stay with them. And then the Rhino with the Warsmith and the squad are going to follow the Leviathans.
Right.
So if they get shot, he'll just get out and fix them.
Cool.
So it should be fun. We'll see. I mean, again, I don't know how effective it's going to be, but it'll be interesting.
Interesting, yeah, for sure. Cliff says, razor saw. Cat says, another good knife. Indeed.
Remember we carried all that stuff? Remember we used to carry remember the hot knife?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It was like a cardboard pastry tube that came with like a metal bend, and you'd hook up the wire that and put 3T batteries into the handle or whatever. Yeah. That thing was awesome.
It was crazy.
The hobby saw.
Dave Hummel says about the claw, says swing it like a morning star. There you go.
See that? That would work.
That would be perfect. You can definitely get that happening. Excellent. So let's just before we do jump into photos from the group of things that people have built and or painted. Sweet. Oh my goodness. You actually had it there next to you this whole time?
Yeah, I got both of them here.
Fantastic. Question that Daria Winter, she asked about how people tackle taking models that usually come attached to a tab that you'd fit into a slotter base when they cut those off, and talking about dynamic models that are like legs lifted, everything, just one point of contact, and then try and put those on a resin base or something like that. How would you generally tackle that if you got a very small point of contact there?
If it has a small point of contact, if it already has a slotter base, I've turned a bunch of my slotter bases into posts. So, let's assume it's something like the old Phoenix Lords, like Jane Czar.
Right.
Even the old metal Jane Czar.
Yep.
The only thing that's touching the ground is her toe.
Yep.
But then she's on this big long metal slotter base. So I think what I did on a similar model is I basically cut off. If this is the slotter base, I cut off almost all of it. So I left a post under her foot.
Okay.
And then I used my hobby drill, and I drilled a hole in the base, the resin base.
Okay.
Very carefully. Yep. And then just, squeezed the post into that, and then just used, a good super glue. And then, you could, filling that's easy. Hopefully the glue will fill it. But if not, you could pack it with, anything, or just paint over it with basing material, or use PVA glue or whatever. But I usually turn it into a post and turn it into, so I can stick to the base.
So you don't cut it off there. You snip there.
Yeah.
Still use that as something you can drop in.
If this is the model and she's on the base like this, I'll cut off almost all of it, just so there's a little bit, and basically turn it into the old post bases where you'd there's like the old Space Marines that had like the Terminators would have like you poke a hole in the base,
Yep.
and you'd put one of the holes through like that.
Right.
So I turn it into a post base. It's
Okay.
just easier.
Right, yeah.
And it gives you a little more sort of like 3-dimensional stability. Like if you take resin and you glue metal to resin,
Yep.
you only have that one point of contact. Whereas if you glue it like the post into the base,
Yep.
you got a little bit better connection point. So
Okay. Right, yeah. Cool. I think one of the ways that I'd kind of tackle it is normally, like, if we're talking like feet. Oh, let's just get this happening. Like a little point, like point of attachment there with the toe.
Yep.
Is so usually if your leg is a bit more like that, I would drill up through the heel into the leg and have that point come out and attach into the base.
Pin it.
Yeah, sort of pin it into the base. So you might end up with something that could look like they were wearing stilettos or something. But then put like tufts around it is what I do, or have like sand, like glue sand to it, so it looks like as they're lifting up as their heel is coming up, there's dirt coming up with it. Depending on what texture you're doing on the base, but
Trick you can do that helps. It's not a perfect fix, but it helps. I did models for a guy a while ago, and it was something really weird. They were like they weren't 3D printed, but they were from some random company, and they definitely weren't supposed to be on the bases that I got.
okay.
So what I did was I'll use my hobby knife and I'll put like almost like hash marks.
Yep.
Or cross hatching in the base, and then I'll do it both ways, make it almost like a grid, like, and then I'll try to do it to the model too if it's flat, and then when you glue it, it just creates more sort of area for the glue to stick to.
Right. Yep.
Not just two flat pieces with glue in the middle.
Yep.
By making those cross hatches, it's more like there's more pieces for the glue to like grab onto.
There's more grip. Yeah. More things to grip to. Okay.
That can help too.
There's a couple of different ways there. A couple of different things to do. Cool. Scott says that the hot knife, for the price of the hot knife and 2 D-cell batteries, you could get approximately 1/3 of a hill cut out of foam. That thing was no bueno. I could believe it.
How many times did you burn yourself on that stupid thing?
I don't think I've ever actually used it, to be honest.
God, the hot knife it was crazy. Like, it was literally, they were like, how can we package and sell a fire hazard?
Yeah.
That's literally what it is. Like, you're running current from a battery through a piece of copper wire.
Yeah.
So it gets unbelievably hot.
Yeah.
But like you'd be like, okay, I'm gonna and it had the whole thing where like you'd screw the cap in more and it would make the connection and then it would start and there's no light, there's no noise. You're like, I think it's on.
Yep.
And then you'd touch it to pink foam, and if it was on, it was hot. It was literally a hot knife through butter. It would just.
Yep.
You could cut everything out. We used to make tons of hills with it, but then you'd put it down and you'd unscrew it for a second, and it would cool off because the charge isn't there. But sometimes you'd catch your elbow on it or something. And you'd go, oh, it was so hot.
No.
Oh man, that thing was crazy.
Yep. Yep. Well, I'm excited that I have the Proxon table, like
Okay.
hot wire table now.
Yeah.
Which is great because that plugs in, so it's mains power running through that.
Even better.
Yep, definitely good. Josh says I still use mine. I got it in the floral section at Walmart. Jeff's here. Hello, everyone. He says, "Hi, Jeff." This is the burns from the knife are secondary to the fumes of actual melting insulation.
100%. Literally, like I said, GW was like, and again, this is decades ago, but it was like, how can we sell a health risk?
Yeah.
Like, the thing is all dangerous. It's all bad.
Yep. Dave says that's on my short list for the new hobby room. I think he's talking about the Proxon hot wire table.
Not the one that Scott and I are talking
Not the
about.
GW one, no. Chris Gogger said, I got rid of that GW one only a couple of years ago. Yeah, that's
What was it still working? Like,
well, it could be that you're just hanging on to it for posterity. It's just like, when you put it up on the wall.
that thing was
You look
nuts.
at it occasionally, and then you look at your scars.
The thing was like, the weird thing with 2 was, like, if you remember the original Dimensions, and I'm sure Cliff remembers this too, it literally was a cardboard tube.
Yep.
This is paper towel, so it wasn't this big. It was probably like this big. It was probably 2/3 of paper towel, and then 2 D batteries would fit in it, and you'd screw it shut, and then the wire was basically an elbow of metal with a little tiny copper wire. So the aperture was only this big. So when you were trying to cut pink insulation foam, it was kind of a pain in the ass because you couldn't really go very far on it.
Yep.
So there were so many of us that took the batteries out and bent it so it was a bigger, like a C.
Right. Yeah.
And then you just stretched out the copper wire, and then you could do all kinds of stuff. But I mean, it was again, it's like the lowest amount of technology that they could squeeze into it. It's crazy.
Yep. Oh, Dave says, no, I've got that one floating around in a box somewhere. Excellent. Cliff says, might need to double check the Tech Marine Covenant rules, Jake. I don't think they can be attached to a dreadnought, only infantry.
Thought right to start the game, they'd be attached to the command squad.
Okay.
And I thought they can leave the command squad because they're independent characters.
You have to check it. We'll check it.
Yeah, I don't remember.
We'll check it
I mean, if I can't take them, I can't take them. It's not like it's a huge deal.
Yeah.
Again, this is like the extra stuff if I get to it. So like,
nice.
Either that or I just add another tank.
Yeah. Just said just enough space for 2 inches of 2 inches of insulation foam. And Chris says, it still worked. Just had to take the batteries out after use so they didn't burn out the metal. Excellent. Okay.
All right. They can't leave the unit. All right.
Cliff and Jake, you can discuss that later. Moving right along. Video photos from the group. First one we've got here is from Aaron Provost, who is excited to be putting together his assault intercessors. I think he's doing a Sons of Medusa army. I'm pretty sure. So we'll see these in a lovely lime green.
Love that paint scheme.
Yep.
Look at this guy. He gets it. He drilled out his barrels.
Nice. One of the things that I've taken to doing recently, because I sometimes forget before I prime the model, or sometimes couldn't be bothered doing, is I'm just painting dots on the end of the barrels.
Dude, I even drilled out the barrels.
Right.
I don't know if you're able to see this now. I even drilled out the barrels on the Dreadnought close combat claw
of the dead Dreadnought. Nice. Very cool. But yep, excellent. So Aaron's ready to go with those intercessors. Very cool. Here's something that Chris has been working on recently. A super cool rusty orange war dog.
Yeah, I saw these photos. He posted these online too. They look phenomenal.
Yep.
That orange is great.
I do have to check, Chris, where did you get those pumpkins from?
He sculpted them out of green stuff.
That would be cool, but I have a feeling you might have got them from Secret Weapon at some point. Because if he did, I sculpted them out of green stuff. I did masters for those.
Dave, you'll drive yourself nuts. You got to do it as you're building them. If you try to go back and do it all at once, you'll blow your brains out. Like you can't. Like I would never drill out the barrels of an army. It's literally like a squad at a time as I'm doing
it. For sure. Excellent. So yeah, have to let us know, Chris. Next up, we have actually. Well, just before we do move on, I do love the patina on the sort of the brassy, bronzy bits.
Yeah, it looks really cool on the collar too because it almost has that. Like, it looks like it's hammered.
Yeah, gives it that definitely kind of abused look. But yeah, looks great. Nice work, Chris. Next up, we've got Chris Jones, painted a bunch of Deathwing. I think he had 14 Deathwing models. He posted in the group.
Nice.
Chris has been playing Dark Angels for forever, since Rogue Trader, I think. So, a little bit worried to see this many Cyclone missile launches.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Deathwing are great. I've seen Deathwing so many different variations of the color. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where, like, you picture them in your head, you're like, oh, Deathwing.
Yep.
But I've seen so many different tones over the years.
Yep. Yeah, I do like these in this more of a sort of tan look rather
it's
than
like
a bone.
I like it.
Yeah, looks really good. Chris says this was commissioned, so I'm not sure where the client got them from. Maybe the Secret Weapon or Green Stuff World. But yeah, cool. So yeah, Chris Jones, nice work.
Yeah, these look awesome.
Next up, we got speaking of Tech Marines.
All right, let's see.
This is from Cliff.
Nice.
This is going to be one of his Iron Warriors Tech Marines. So he's been messing around. His razor saw in the background there. Been doing some clipping and cutting, which is cool. And oh my goodness, Cliff, we're like almost twinsies. Yay! My hobby knife's a little bit different, but
I still have that hobby knife. That hobby knife's awesome.
yeah, I'm not a big fan of it, to be honest. I think I've had it. I've had some blades snap on me, but anyway,
I just like that you can retract it so you don't forget and stab. Every single person I know who has a hobby knife with a cap on it, they lose the cap inevitably.
well, I like to have the round ones without the caps, so they can roll off your desk.
Oh, that's such a good idea.
Yep, I like to live dangerously. So
Yep, well done.
Excellent. Cliffy needs a circular saw. He does indeed need a circular saw. Maybe that's what's going to go in his left hand there, Dave. Just replace his... It hasn't put a left hand in yet. I think it's just going to be a circular saw. That'll be great. Next up, we've got a crazy conversion from Drew Carrington, 1 Inch Heroes. Drew did not say what this was. So
We'll make some.
we could. One of the things that I love about this one is the
It's a Space Wolf.
it's got like a belt around it with the skulls attached. But rather than just like gluing the skull to the belt, he's put a little loop, like the metal loop at the back of the skull.
Yeah,
And then the
I
belt
like that.
passes through all of them. Yep, definitely cool. Oh, Cliff says the left hand's getting a tech axe. Dave almost said Space Wolf, yeah. It's badass, that's what it is. It's definitely badass. Scott says, cool stuff, guys. But yeah, it does look fantastic, doesn't it? Very cool conversion.
A lot. That's really good.
Nice work from Drew. Josh Potter is looting a Land Raider to make an orc battle wagon in the classic approach. But it looks fantastic. I'm loving the kind of the outrigger piece. Well, I guess the running boards and the railing that all the orcs would be hanging on to as they rush into battle.
On the train.
Pardon? Yeah, like they're on the
they're
train.
So good.
Yep. No, definitely it's looking very cool there, Josh.
I miss all the goofy stuff. I miss all the crazy stuff that orcs can do.
What do you mean you miss it?
Like, you can't really do any of it anymore.
Well, you can. You can always do it.
Sure, right, but I mean, like, in the game, like, it was fun, like, when it happened in the game. Like, we've all seen it. Like, second edition, the orc player, like, botches a bunch of rolls, and his entire army, like, eats itself.
Right, okay.
Or that same player, like, the next game, he tables you, and you're like, what happened? Like, the orcs were so lunatic. Like, oh, it was the best.
Yep. Crazy swingy.
So my shock attack on, like, envelops a unit of grots, and then I blow up my Liftadroppa, which incinerates the unit of orc boys next to it.
Yep. Sorry, I thought you meant conversions and building. I thought you were
No.
talking about that.
I mean, conversion is always a huge part of the hobby.
Yeah. And I think for orcs even more so. Even though you could easily just build all of the stuff that they come with. Looting's always is a better way to go for sure. Was the old school Gorka Morka rule of there is no limit to the number of boys in a truck, but if they fall off, they take a wound. Platforms will have boys with big shooters to mimic the sponsons. And Dave Hummel says, awesome. It is awesome. Great work there, Josh.
Remember, you got to paint it red, though, so it goes faster.
Right, yeah. I'm sure he will. No doubt. Or unless he's going to paint it like it's a Bad Moons
Okay.
thing. Because you'd have to have a lot of teeth to get your hands on a Land Raider, I think.
Probably.
Maybe. But next up, we've got a unit of Chthonian Reavers for Christian Simonson's Sons of Horus army. We've seen Christian's Sons of Horus before. They're very, very cool, very grimdark kind of look to them. And so, yeah, getting to see them before they get the paint on them. They're looking awesome.
Those are great. I like all the spikes on the helmets.
Yeah, those sort of spiky mohawks. Very ganger. Kind of
the claws on the leader. Those are dope.
Yeah. Yep. They're absolutely awesome. They look great. But I just love that variety through there as well.
I guess there's already some blood on that one guy's shoulder pad.
Yeah. No,
I mean, those spikes are real.
I think so. But looking fantastic, Christian. Very nice.
The guy on the right in the back, is that a Legion of the Damned guy?
I'm not sure.
It's definitely not one of the Mark 6 dudes.
Not one of the new Mark 6.
No.
But I think he's gone back and is repurposing some of these models for sure. For some of the bits. But yeah, looking good. Very nice. Josh says he's running Cult of Speed anyhow. All my rides are red.
Nice.
So you get your wish.
You got to play a little Sammy Hagar when you start, the Red Rocker.
Chris says, looks like an old metal Khorne Berserker. Dave says, old Chaos Khorne body.
Okay, nice.
Dan says, an old Khorne Berserker. There we go. Thanks very much, folks.
The crew knows.
Yep. Very good. Next up, we've got Phil and his Land Raider. This one's kind of a frightening arrangement.
Ooh, yeah, that looks terrifying.
It does, doesn't it? So I think this is a bit of a cobble together of a bunch of different pieces. But that Punisher cannon in the hull, and the quad stacked melter.
That thing is nuts.
Or is that twin linked multi melters? Twin linked multi melters, something like that.
That is a twin linked multi melter.
Yep.
That's great.
Cliff says, where are those treads from? I think those treads are from Blood and Skulls. Yeah, there we go. Dave Hummel says probably Blood and Skulls.
Yeah, those are
Blood
awesome.
and Skulls Industry. They have those. They've got a variety of different tank track types, but these ones are.
You need to aerate my lawn, or aerate some fallen Marines. Like that's how I would do it.
Yep. Oh, for sure. But that definitely looks like a brutal tank.
Yeah, I think
like to be getting close to that at all. But no, nice work, Phil. Glad that you were building there. One of the things you can see as well is up the top, Phil has some plasticard there filling a gap. Might be a piece that's missing. And it's got some green stuff filling some gaps at the edges, but he's also created some of the superstructure shapes using green stuff too.
We carry the Gale Force 9 like plasticard.
Oh, yep.
Such a great pack. It if you ever want to do anything like this, or if you want to fix anything, or like all the people complaining about the fact that the new Rogel Dorn battle tank doesn't have a bottom, I'm like, just buy a sheet of plasticard and put it on the bottom. Like, all you need to do.
Yep. I was going to say with that, if you're in the UK and you want to get a resin bottom for your Rogel Dawn Taro model maker, James Taro has made one. It's up on his site. If you're in the US, Dragon Forge Design, Jeff Wilhelm has just made one as well. I don't know if it's up on his site yet, but it will be up in the next couple of days at least. But if you're not worried about it, that's cool too. You don't have to do it.
I think that's supposed to be. Yeah, I think that is supposed to be an Achilles.
Yep, I think you're right. Next up, what do we have next? Oh, next up we got.
He's got that like tracking lens over the driver's window.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Next up is from Sean Gleason. Sean is doing some work on a Sylvaneth Force. So he's built some of the.
Nice.
I can't remember what they're called.
Those are the
Revenants? No, they're not Revenants.
Those are they're the ones that are in between. They're not. They're like little tree lords, but they're not as big as they're bigger than the regular guys.
Kurnoth Hunters.
Yeah, that's it. They're
Kurnoth something. The Hunters are the ones with the bows, right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
they're Kurnoth tree spirits. So I just don't remember which ones. They're Kurnoth something. Kurnoth stalkers.
Could be.
I don't remember. And then there's the guy in the middle with the wings, like the spirit with the bug wings.
Right. Yep. Looking good.
Yeah, those things are great. The ones that we usually run is a buddy of mine runs the ones that have the longbows.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like they're basically mobile bolt throwers. They are crazy.
Yeah. They are neat. But no, so
those models are great. That whole line is super cool.
Yeah. We'll get to see Sean goes through these. Hopefully Sean will be posting photos in the group. Hunters, they are hunters, okay. Cool.
I used one of them as my tree man in Blood Bowl.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
The guy that's on the back left with the scythe.
Yep.
The one who's like this.
Right.
I cut off the scythe and it looks great because he's tall enough that it looks like he's punching out a lineman.
Okay.
When you run, he's just so big.
Yeah. That's for your halfling team? Yeah.
My wood elf team.
Okay. He looks like he'd struggle a little bit to throw a wood elf.
Well, so I basically use him because he's really hard to hurt.
Sure.
And the rest of the wood elf team is not hard to hit.
Very easy to hurt. Yep.
He like anchors my line.
Yep.
And then typically what happens is my war dancers just run off the board and score.
Okay. Nice.
That list is fragile but fun.
Sean says he has 10 Gossamer archers for support, which is cool.
Okay,
Nice. Next up is Thomas Wynn. So I'm going to get to play again. Well, maybe not play against these, but they're going to be in the Warcry campaign that I'm going to be playing. It's first game tomorrow night. These are Boingrup Bounders.
Those models are amazing.
Yep. But he's converted these up to be look a little bit more like the Goblin Knights from Labyrinth.
Yeah.
So some of them start with those like the armored feet, with the pointy armored feet, and the helmets. But he's brought a few other things together as well.
These look amazing, and then by putting them on the rocks, they look like they're the right height to kill someone on a horse.
Right? Yeah. Yep. They can definitely take out that. But yeah, I think his whole war band is like Boingrup Bounders for Warcry. So it's gonna be interesting to see how it actually plays, but yeah, should be fun.
That's rad. They're like, I love the squigs are like one of the coolest things ever. Like they're super dumb and I love it.
Yep.
It's like, oh, I'm an angry tadpole with giant teeth, and you're like, oh, that seems great. Let's have those.
Yep, absolutely. And next up, we have a photo from Tommy Sewell. Where's Tommy's book? Got it here somewhere. Oh my goodness. There we go. Right off Tommy Sewell. Whole book written by Tommy. Anyway, so these Tommy's been painting up a what do you call it? What are the floaty sheet guys? Night Haunts.
There's the floaty ship guys. I was like, that's the
No, they're the Caradron overlords. No, he's been floaty sheets.
floaty sheet guy.
Yeah.
The ghost.
So he's been picking up a Nighthaunt's army, but he's also now building a table to go with them.
Awesome.
I think he's doing like 6x4 or something like that. But yeah, got a whole bunch of the
Very Mordheim.
yeah, he's got a whole bunch of the old GW terrain kits. So this is the fortified manor house, I think. Well, not the manor house, but the watchtower.
Dude,
But
that's a great kit.
It is. But I think when he posted this, he was like, "Hey, it's amazing how the difference that putting a wash on things can make." So you can see on the left is all the base colors. Everything's sort of base coated, and then the right has it's not a wash over the whole thing, but just that lots of extra depth and weathering.
Yeah, I mean, like just looking at the I guess the panels itself. If you look at the top, where I guess between the windows, it looks like that's been mortared. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Oh yeah, it looks like it's stucco. Yeah, for sure.
It looks like stucco, and you can see just above the door jamb and all the damages and scratches. Like the one on the left, you can see the scratch to the right of the stairs,
Right.
but it just the wash brings up all the other little details around that whole wall, and the stones have so much more depth too with the wash.
Yep. But no,
Washes are amazing. Like you get a paint job goes from being a C plus to like a B plus just by doing a wash.
like any paint job.
Any paint job. Like,
yeah. But no, it looks absolutely fantastic. Nice work, Tommy.
those are great.
Definitely cool. So that one is actually the last of the build photos, the photos we have for this week.
Sure.
On the topic. But the last photo that we've got here, some folks might have seen this in the Facebook group. This is Scott holding a trophy.
All right, when he is his slam dancing contest.
Yeah. Yep. So, so just quickly, Sean says, "I wish they would bring that kit back." Me too. I think I have. Oh, I got one over there. I'll have to show you that. Dave says, "Sorry, I couldn't post anything currently." That's cool, Dave. Not a problem. We understand it's going to be a couple of months before you get everything back under control. But yeah, the reason I threw this in is that we mentioned something briefly about giveaways, doing something fun, crazy, whatever. And Scott came up with the idea that we'll have a starting week. Oh, Scott says you put a photo in late for the building. Sorry, I didn't see it. We might find it for next week. But we've got this one anyway. And the idea will be that when we announce it, the following week will be week 1, where you have to build something. So show photos of what you're building or built. Week 2 is paint. So show a photo of you painting it or it being painted or the painted and finished version of it. And then week 3 will be you playing a game with that model. So, Scott says, this is a replica Slammy, WWF's most prestigious award, handed out to only the creme de la creme. And now I have a fake one. Fantastic. But we won't be giving away Slammies because they are quite rare, even the fake ones. But we'll work out something that we can give away for our first build, paint, play 3-week extravaganza. But we just wanted to let you know about that so you can start thinking about what you might do. I think we'll probably launch the first one in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yep. Next week, we're going to be talking with Rick Ankney, our buddy Rick.
Tabletop Santa.
The Tabletop Santa, all sorts of tabletop stuff. Rick Rolls America, and formerly my boss at Game Trade Media and Painting Happy Little Minis, way back in the day. I say way back in the day, it was probably only as late as 2019, just before COVID. So pre-COVID.
COVID is like dilated time.
And it has, hasn't it? Yeah, it's like 3 years. 3 years ago was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
We're coming up on the 3-year anniversary of everybody going, oh my God, what? So,
stay home.
Fantastic. So, yeah, 2 weeks' time, 2 weeks, we will launch the first 3-week competition, I guess, where week 1 is build, week 2 is paint, week 3 is play.
Right on.
Have you all got it? And just so that everybody knows, this is Scott's idea. If it works out, fantastic, we'll take credit. If it doesn't work out, it was all Scott.
Oh.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, maybe Jeff, if you're in a game-free zone, perhaps you can show us a photo of it on a table in some.
He lives near Matthews. Get a game in with John Matthews. John's stuck at home. I know he can't do anything. Go to his house and play a game on the kitchen table.
Oh, I think John's moved way out west.
I thought he's still near the office because he's still working, but he's home right now because he like broke his hand or something.
Who knows? It's John. I wouldn't want to go around to John's place.
I'm not saying anything.
Yep. But I think people can be creative. Be creative.
Sure.
Come up with something good. So yeah, that's I think that kind of let's move on from a picture of Scott. Oh, there we go. He's living with me 4 nights a week. There you go. There's your gamer. Scott says, "This build, paint, play. I can't believe I had to think of it. It's like naming the band Van Halen or Bon Jovi. It was already there." You are absolutely correct, Scott. Absolutely correct. Sometimes I think my thinking is always like within the box. I don't think outside of the box. But if somebody shows me that the box can be a different shape, I will still think within that box, but I will now adapt to that different shape of box. So, all good.
Cannot be contained. I think outside the box.
Yeah. Fantastic. Okay, everybody. I think that is it for another week. Yeah? We've done well. Next week, as I said, Rick Ankney, we're going to be talking about creating content for a wide variety of gaming companies, which is one of the things that he does, online content. But he's also organizing a paint and take for a show that is not a miniatures gaming show. We've got that coming up. That's
he's done it a couple of times now.
Yeah. So he's going to talk. We're going to have a chat with him about that. What the challenges are. What the what fun things. What fun stories he can tell us from folks who have never painted before, who are sitting down to paint their first minis ever.
Right on.
So definitely be cool. So don't forget, like, subscribe, do all the other fun stuff. I should have said that up.
Your friends, post it everywhere.
Post it everywhere, share the links, all that sort of good stuff. And it'll be great. I think we've got 15 viewers at the moment, more than 15, which is nice. Hooray! We'll keep it growing.
We love everybody on here. Like it's super fun. Like again, we went into this being like, even if it was just me and Dave talking to each other, like that would be fine. Yep. So I'm glad it's good to know that people seem to like what we're doing. That's good news. So
hooray! Indeed. So very cool. Thank you very much, everybody. And don't forget to build, paint,
play. We'll get that cadence down right one of these days. We'll get that cadence down.
No, we won't. We won't. It's going to be terrible forever.
Kind of better that it's not good, I guess. But
excellent. Okay, everybody. Bye.
Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down.